Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG review. I am Castle Keeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, continuation of my character class spotlights for Castles and Crusades. And today I'll be taking a look at the Paladin. The Paladin is an iconic class. Uh, Typically not the easiest class to play because I think many players and many game masters struggle with a very good portrayal. It doesn't have to be perfect, but a very good portrayal of what lawful good is and how it would normally function. And uh, being that a paladin is usually tied to that devotion and required, at least in old school Dungeons and Dragons as well, really required to follow that doctrine of both their religious faith and their class fidelity. That it's somewhat easy to fall astray. So lawful good is a difficult class or a difficult alignment to play well, and very similar to chaotic evil. I mean, a lot of times people playing chaotic evil, they play it stupidly. Um, so it's a very difficult one to get right, and so is the lawful good paladin. So I will comment a little bit as I'm going through the um, the PDF and describing the class as it exists in Castles and Crusades. I also wanted to note I chose this image here because I just like most of the imagery that I've seen for female paladins is usually exceptional. I mean, I just love this image here, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, "That's the one. That's what I want to portray." It kind of has that Joan of Arc kind of sense to it, but yeah, female paladins are a thing. There's actually a few named female paladins in Greyhawk. So AD&D First Edition, and so that's the other reason why I chose this image, because to me, there's something about the female paladin, that and anytime any of my female players in my group want to play a female fighter type, I'd love to see them go to either paladin or ranger or something that typically has like a code that they follow. I think they carry that really well. Just a preference and possibly a bias on my part. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump right into the PDF. So the Paladin is a charisma-based class, so that means that their primary attribute is charisma. In the constant battle between good and evil, a select few, through their selfless devotion, courage, nobility of spirit, and unyielding faith, rise to the forefront of the struggle. The holy warriors strike terror in the hearts of evil creatures and inspire others to greater good. The paladin's consistency and strength knows only the limits of their duty and code. The paladin is a holy warrior chosen for adherence and absolute devotion to a deity or similar holy cause. Some are trained in all arts of combat, serving in the vanguard of many wars and movements. Their belief in the tenets of their deity gives them strength and divine powers beyond those of other warriors. A paladin's code requires them to respect legitimate authority, act with honor, help those in need, and punish those that harm or threaten innocence. They can serve priests, temples, religious houses, or other religious authorities, but obey only one calling. The paladins serve their code alone. They are defined by their actions, and their actions are dictated by their code. These holy warriors are driven by virtue, courage, nobility, and the quest to combat evil in all forms. They ride for no master but their deity or cause. The greater good guides their actions, and the victory is its own honor. Paladins fight on lonely battlefields and protect the weak. These warriors fight and die for the greater good, often unsung, alone, and beyond the reach of succor. Though paladins are often maligned for their zealous actions or feared for their powers, all hold them in high regard, for they wage an unflagging war against evil. A paladin's power flows from strength of will and the ability to project divine power against the enemy. Their purpose, if misunderstood by many, is quite clear to them and always guides their actions. They are servants of the law and are bound to their code forever. They serve the greater good and always place it above all else. Every deity or pantheon has a moral code that dictates what is acceptable on the battlefield. A paladin's weapons of choice are generally those of the paladin's deity or of a knightly sort, for paladins eschew cowardly combat and believe facing one's enemy in battle is the highest honor. They never use weapons associated with thieves or the cowardly, and generally refuse to use ranged weapons, though some of them are not adverse to using them if absolutely necessary. Paladins never knowingly associate with evil characters under any circumstances. A paladin ends all associations with those who consistently offend their moral code or refuse to help in the causes the paladin considers worthy. A paladin who ceases to perform his duties or strays from the path of righteousness, who willfully commits an evil act, or who grossly violates the code of conduct, loses all abilities, including the service of the paladin's divine mount. The character is outcast and cursed, and no longer advances in strength or power. Only by atoning for these violations of the code may such a paladin regain the status and power. Abilities: Cure disease. At first level, the paladin can cure any disease no matter the origin once per week. This ability improves as the paladin rises in levels. At 6th level, the paladin can cure disease 2 times per week, and at 12th, 3 times per week. Detect evil. Beginning at 1st level, paladins have the ability to detect evil in the same manner as the spell. However, the ability is innate and no spell casting is involved. A paladin simply concentrates for 1 round on an area or individual within 60 feet to use the ability. The paladin must face towards the area or individual being examined. The paladin can do this as often as desired, but must be able to concentrate for at least 1 round to do so. Divine aura. Paladins emanate a permanent divine aura that wards against attacks from evil, summoned or conjured creatures. It creates a magical barrier that conveys a +1 bonus to armor class and a +2 bonus on all saving throws against evil creatures. The divine aura also prevents bodily contact by summoned or conjured creatures. This causes the natural weapon attacks of such creatures to fail and the creatures to recoil if such require touching the warded creature. Good elements and outsiders are human to this effect. All right, that's a pretty powerful ability there. I mean, it gives them a +2 to armor class and a +2 bonus to all saving throws against evil creatures, and they cannot bodily touch him. So if you have a demon with a claw attack, it will not be able to strike a paladin. Um, Instead, it would just miss and be so averted from making contact that it probably would have to rely on other modes of contact. The paladin is immune to all diseases of any origin. Lay on hands. A paladin can cure 2 hit points per level once per day. This ability can be used on the paladin or on others, but the healing cannot be divided amongst multiple recipients. Turning undead, based on wisdom. At 3rd level, the paladin gains the ability to turn undead as a 1st level cleric. When making a wisdom check to turn undead, the paladin adds his turning level to the roll, not the character's actual level. The ability improves with each level, so at 5th level, the paladin turns like a 3rd level cleric, etc. Divine Mount. At 4th level, the paladin gains the ability to call a divine warhorse or other mount. The paladin's deity confers this grace upon the paladin as a reward for faithful service. Divine Mount is unusually intelligent, strong, loyal, and ready to serve the paladin in his or her crusade against evil. The mount is usually a heavy warhorse for medium-sized paladin or a war pony for a small-sized paladin. Should the paladin's mount die, a year and a day must pass before another can be called. The castle keeper provides the information about the mount that responds to the paladin's call. Aura of Courage. At 6th level, a paladin is immune to fear, magical or otherwise. Allies within 10 feet of the paladin gain a +4 bonus on the saving throws against fear effects. Smite Evil. Once per day, a paladin of 9th level or higher may attempt to smite evil with 1 normal melee attack. Smite Evil adds the paladin's charisma modifier, if positive, to the attack roll and deals 1 extra hit point of damage per level of the paladin. It lasts for 1 round per level of the paladin. This ability can be used once per day and only on creatures of evil alignment. So let's say you have a ninth level paladin with a charisma modifier of a +3, let's say. So they would get a +3 to hit on the attack roll, and it will deal an extra 9 hit points of damage of the paladin. It lasts for 1 round per level of the paladin. So the paladin would be able to strike for all of those modifiers for up to 9 rounds against an evil creature. Divine Healing. At 12th level, a paladin can call upon his deity to add those in need of healing. Divine Healing enables the character to wipe away disease and injury. It completely cures all diseases, blindness, deafness, hit point damage, and all temporary ability damage. It neutralizes poisons in the subject's system, and so that no additional damage or effect are suffered. It dispels the effects of feeble mind. It cures those mental disorders caused by spells or injury to the brain. Only a single application of the ability is needed to simultaneously achieve all of these effects. The ability does not remove negative levels, restore permanently drained levels, or restore permanently drained ability scores. The paladin can use this ability once per week. So the paladin's primary attribute, as mentioned previously, is charisma. The hit die is a d10. Lawful good alignments only. Any weapons and any armor, other than the fact that, it should exclude weapons primarily used by thieves and such, so saps and obviously poisons and those kinds of things. As you can see, first level, they have a basic to hit of 0, but then it goes up +1 for every level beyond level 1. So 2 is +1, 3 is +2, and so on and so forth. And there you have the Paladin. All right, so let me switch views here. So again, a very powerful class, one that really requires some work between the castle keeper and the player to make sure that there's a reasonable means for the player to keep that character, on the path of righteousness, and but also to be presented from time to time with those, challenging, um, challenging experiences, and putting their morality to test every once in a while is something that you're really testing out the player to continue to role play the paladin class. Like I said previously, um, playing a lawful good character is difficult, um, and then playing one that's also a paladin on top of that becomes even more challenging. Thus, the power that this class has in comparison, possibly to others. But that's why it's a powerful class, because it's a difficult class to play, and difficult class to role play well. So I encourage you to give it a try. I encourage castle keepers or game masters, if you have paladins in whatever game system you're running, to encourage a player to, probably your most experienced player, to give this class a try, because it is very rewarding. As a player, I know this, to play a lawful good character, and to believe that you're playing it well, especially one that's divine. Like, I played a lawful good cleric, and it was a really good experience, and it was a challenge, even with all of my years of experience. And I do believe that I hit it well, and only had like one mental mistake, one decision mistake along the lines, where I was like, what I did was still good, but I don't know if it was necessarily lawful good. The other option would have been more lawful good. And, instead, I just continued to follow the rest of the party on the main quest, when this side quest might have been a little bit more pressing and more aligned with um, my lawful good dedication. So, and that's the kind of thing that a good castle keeper will present that player with, is those conundrums. Which is the more lawful good action to take, or which one is more in line with the code of the paladin. And when you give that kind of an option, the code of the paladin and lawful good as two separate branches of potential story to follow, the paladin should follow the code, and the code is still lawful good, but it's a challenge, and it's really fun when you strike that balance out well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon. Please feel free to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like the video if you liked it. Leave questions and comments in there, and be on the lookout for some more videos today. Today might actually be a very busy video day for me. I might actually do 3 today, and hopefully everything as far as my plans for the rest of this day work out well, and I will get to all 3 videos I was looking to do. So, as always, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day.